Hello there, Sir from 17 once again, introducing you to my Mass Effect 3 Insanity difficulty video walkthrough. This is the second section to Earth and our final assault, and we are literally clearing out more of the Reapers that are dug in. And this room here is going to have a bunch of cannibals, a couple of Ravagers in it, and a couple of Marauders, so it's all standard stuff, it's nothing too new, nothing too difficult. But, like any other fighting in this game, if you approach it wrong, or if you get in a bad spot, you can die, and you can lose, so you want to be really careful. But, one thing I would say is, there's a part of me that wishes that I could afford to have, you know, the top-end PC to play games on. Because I bet this game looks fantastic when it runs at, you know, 100 frames per second or however high that they go on PC now, because they hit some ridiculous numbers. It's like consoles are still arguing over, you know, the difference between having a solid game at 30 frames per second or a game that has to be limited in scope that runs at 60 frames per second. And don't get me wrong, the difference between 30 and 60 sometimes is not that noticeable, but if you go between playing one game at 30 for ages and you go back to 60, 60 feels weird. Because it's almost too much input for your eye. It's strange as hell. But then you look at PC games and they just make everything look so much better because the visuals are better, they've got more fidelity, they've got processors that enable them to, you know, just run at ridiculously superior rates to what the consoles can push. And this conversation has been sparked by the interval between this video and the last, when I went downstairs and my dad's actually playing Modern Warfare 3 on the PC, and he's just bought a new tower and it's spec'd out to shit. And I asked him if he'd done anything to the video settings, and he said no. So I went into the options and I picked, you know, optimal video and audio, and when he put it on, there was no dip in the frame rate. Everything looked awesome. He's turning really quickly, and there's no screen tearing, there's no, you know, hitching, there's nothing. The game plays amazingly. It's still, you know, kind of grey-ish compared to Modern Warfare 2, because Modern Warfare 2 just seems so much more colourful, but visually it makes the Xbox version just look crap. It makes it look dull, really dull. Such a vibrant looking, you know, level of graphical detail. And I think that's what makes me so excited about the new consoles coming out. And I say coming out, there's still a lot of life in the 360 and the PS3, and I have no problem about that whatsoever, because believe it or not, back in the day, I was one of those people that did not advocate this generation of consoles at all. I was still on my GameCube, I was still like, give me more GameCube games. Don't bullshit around with your new console, because I was kind of pissed off because I'd bought the GameCube for 300 quid when it came out, and in the space of, what was it, 2 years, 3 years, they were already expecting me to buy another console, and I was butthurt. My wallet was raped. I was not into that shit at all. I was like, I don't need it. I don't want something that looks just a little bit nicer. And, you know, look at me now. How times change. It's actually a pretty funny story, that. But something that I would share in a different video, because while this section is not challenging, it's one of those moments where if you don't stay on top of the enemies, you can die. And I know I sound a little bit like a broken record when I say this, but the Marauders are dangerous. If they push you, if they flank you, they can do some serious damage. The Ravagers as well. There's one's going to turn up when we kill these guys. And this guy will not pop out of cover. What a dick. He's just teasing me. He's just full on. And when you do shoot them in the head when they're in cover sometimes, it doesn't register, and other times it does. So it puts me off wasting ammo. Because that's one of the big unfortunate, like, side effects of not upgrading your ammo, or not upgrading your guns or the mods, is you will have pretty much low ammo for the rest of the game, and all the weapons will have the worst physical weight, because the upgrade system actually takes away the weight, it increases the capacity and it increases the damage, so it's definitely worth checking out. But focus on the Ravager first and then push forward. And you know it's London, clearly, because there's one of those red phone boxes that are synonymous with England for some reason. And when you go down London and you barely see them, because it turns out people vandalise phone boxes in our country, so there's hardly any of them. Nah, I'm only joking, there are a lot of them, but that other statement's also true as well. There's so many fucking vandals in England that shit just gets destroyed. Like bus shelters, no such thing. I don't think I've seen a panel of glass in the ones around where I live, because kids be crazy. There's naught to do, they're not selling meth, they're not cooking meth, so they just think, oh, I'll just break something. Randomly destroy something that I don't care about. That makes perfect sense. But just keep stripping people down. Enemies will continue to spawn into this area. There's only a handful of them though. This is not like, you know, Call of Duty or anything silly. But the end goal is to push where that husk is right now and move through that building to our right. But some of these firefights are kind of long because the enemies do take a lot of damage on Insanity. And if you're playing on a New Game Plus, they will take even more damage because the game does scale. So you want to be conscious of that. But on my casual Vanguard playthrough, I actually found a level I'd never done before, and it kind of made me fall in love with the game all over again, because it was new, and it was fresh, and it was the rescuing the Admiral level on, I think it's Rannoch, or the Quarian homeworld. I may have got that wrong. But you go down to the base and you basically have to take down a bunch of guns, and you're moving through mountains and you're seeing collections of Geth and stuff, and that's where I found that weapon I'd never used because it was on a mission I'd never gone on, and I just found it interesting and cool because it was different to a lot of the missions in the game. And I think one of my main criticisms with some of the missions that you do in this is because they're so combat heavy and the emphasis is on shooting dudes, a lot of them feel similar. Even though they're on different planets, even though you're doing slightly different objectives, they feel very different. They feel very similar, sorry. And, like, Mass Effect 2, one of its greatest strengths I found was, when you were on a different planet, they seemed to do as much as they could to make it feel different. I mean, a lot of it was just, you know, contrived weather effects. Like the sun, and, you know, this place looks like a tropical paradise, this place looks like dog shit, this place is green, this place is blue. Maybe they were just cosmetic, but they felt different, and a lot of the areas on this game don't have that same feeling. And I think it's because when you visit, you know immediately that all you have to do is shoot a bunch of dudes and leave. It's not like you're going to be walking around and asking them, you know, what the local chip shop's like, or, you know, is there a decent place to buy some weed? It's not like that. You're just shooting dudes constantly. It's like, there is a dude here, he needs to be shot immediately. Like, I can't imagine being a member of a firing squad in a Mass Effect universe. You're probably busy 24/7. Ridiculous. But be careful when you push through these supermarket areas with the shelves and everything, because the enemies will crawl and crouch and climb out of, like, underneath little vents and things, and sometimes it can be difficult to see. Especially if you haven't adjusted your brightness like I did early on in the game. Because I played the entire game on the standard brightness, and I've got to say, folks, it does not help you at all. The amount of times I was getting killed by people I couldn't see was really frustrating. But now that we've done that and it's all gone quiet, you want to salvage as much Medigel as you can. Pick up currencies, pick up ammunition, do your Mass Effect thing. And this gives me a little opportunity to talk about some stuff that you're going to be seeing on my channel. So after this guide, I'm going to be going back to updating Syndicate and uploading that as quickly as I can, because that's another popular guide that's just come out. And then as soon as the Syndicate guide is done, it's going to be business as normal on my channel. I'll be alternating Gears commentaries, multiplayer commentaries, and I'll be continuing with the Saints Row, with Portal 2, and with Ninja Gaiden Sigma. Because all those guides have been done, they've been recorded and everything, they're all ready, I just need to upload them. And it's just because these projects obviously take priority that's why I've stopped them momentarily. So this little room in here that's like a cafe / an art gallery of some kinds, because there's a lot of futuristic Art Nouveau on the walls and shit, and plant pots and what have you. That dude throws a cheeky grenade. Just look at that. That sounds like somebody's using Reeve. That move is annoying to listen to in the multiplayer. It's almost like the audio on it's glitched, because it's everywhere. Even when you're not close to the enemy that's being affected by it, you can still hear it. And it sounds like a little kid who's trying to make his bike sound like a motorbike by pushing a can down the back tire. It's ridiculous. But you can abuse the fact that these guys will pretty much stay in this room by using the right and left flank windows to just pop their heads and kill them and things. If you're an infiltrator, you'll probably have a lot of fun here, because when you go invisible without anybody seeing you, there's nothing they can do. You can cause a lot of damage with that move. And on the multiplayer, it's a lifesaver. If you ever need to do a crazy suicide revive, use that infiltrator skill, because if you spec that way, you can go invisible for long enough to go pick a dude up and get out of there, and nobody will attack you. It's really useful. But when you open this door, there's a firefight, so you want to get back behind the counter to prepare for it, and you're going to see that in the next video. So you take care now.